wants to talk about that one at some point in the future, Verone, so you'll have to invite her back. But let's crack on. So the first one, very familiar to you all, I'm sure. Do you recognise it? It's Michelangelo, The Creation of Adam, which is on one of the, what they call frescoes, and one of the panels of the Sistine Chapel ceiling, painted between 1508 and 1512. It's considered a real cornerstone painting of what's called Renaissance art, and by many it's considered probably his greatest masterpiece. I'm going to be looking at some hidden meanings and symbols that are contained within all these pictures. This painting illustrates the biblical narrative of the creation in the book of Genesis, the point at which God breathes life into Adam, the first man. Now, interestingly, this is probably where we get the idea that's automatically in our head and in every child in this country, the idea of God as an elderly, white-bearded man. This is probably one of the first times it's portrayed this way, and that's sort of stuck forevermore. That's what you think of when you think of God, isn't it? It comes predominantly from this picture and other pictures of that era. You see him as a white-bearded man in a swirling coat, and Adam on the lower left is completely nude and newly created. And I'm sure you've seen this in many places and in many situations. Can you think of anywhere that you may have seen it? Sort of in the media or anything like that?
Books.
Yeah, South Bank Show. Do you remember the titles of the South Bank Show for years? Finished with this as the finishing point. But things, for those interested in hidden symbolic messages, it's interesting to note, including in this, is the fact that the shapes behind the figures, the shape behind the figure of God, which he's framed within, is a perfect anatomical outline of the human brain. And some say on the other side, the green outline behind Adam is the anatomically correct shape of a female womb. Unfortunately, we can't see it in all its detail in this picture. A lot of these artworks you can't get proper good images of the whole piece because they're worried about people creating posters of them and selling them, and the museums want to control that. So you either get very low resolution images which won't blow up, that look good fully, or you get ones where they crop. You only get about 60% of it, otherwise everybody would be creating t-shirts and things with them. But people who know these things say that the background surrounding Adam is the shape of the female womb, and the scarf is believed to represent the newly cut umbilical cord. So signaling, giving the idea of the separation from man from God after the fall. And of course, the outreach finger, the image of the near-touching hand of God and Adam, has become almost an iconic image of humanity. It's been imitated and it's been parodied even innumerable times, but it represents that moment, the divine spark, when we are truly created in the image of God. The Creation of Adam is probably the best known painting in the world, probably only behind Mona Lisa. Okay. It's the most, I would say it's the most replicated, most copied image of all time. And I suppose you're not that surprised to see it in my top 10. But things will not necessarily be quite so conventional from this point forward.